All right, YouTube, bringing you another video of my 72 Monte Carlo. This time, I'm gonna just walk over everything I did to pretty much restore the entire AC system in this car. Now, before this video gets started, there's plenty of like install videos out there, you know, how to take things out, how to install. This is not an install video. This video will help people decide, I guess, which route to go, because I know that I could have went with a vintage air system, which I didn't want to do. I didn't want to go through all that. I probably spent a few hundred less than what a vintage air system cost, but this is the route I wanted to take because my system was already complete. I already had you know, the original compressor. Everything was there. It still worked. It just wasn't like a newer system. So to start out, I'll just run over the parts list of everything I got. So the things you can see first, I have a new AC compressor. That's a 4 Seasons AC compressor. Have a new parallel flow AC condenser. Can't really see it because it's tucked in here pretty good. Of course, anytime you do anything with the AC system, just get you a new dryer. I have a new evaporator that's, of course, in the box, and I'll throw up pictures as I'm talking about some of this stuff too, so you can see some of the install process. I have a new POA. That's the POA Eliminator actually, and it has a switch on it to cycle the compressor. When the pressures hit a certain point, it'll cycle the compressor off, and then when the pressures get back to a certain point, and I'll throw it up on the screen. I forget the exact pressures, but it'll cycle it on and off, and that works just fine. The next thing I have is a new THX valve there, and I have to reroute that coil wire. I've always hated that, just never got to it, so I got to reroute that. So new THX, everything over there is new. And from there, yeah, I think that's all the brand new parts. Oh, AC lines. This is pretty important. I ordered some online through the parts place, and they didn't fit. And when I say they didn't fit, you know, to connect to the back of the compressor, it went ahead and, you know, routed along here, but they just wouldn't fit. Like the hose coming from here, it wouldn't come to the condenser. It stopped about here, like literally stopped about right there. And then going around, it's like they wasn't bent right. So I did what I should have did in the first place and went ahead and took it to a hydraulic shop. And the price I paid for them to go ahead and redo my original lines and put new hoses on them, that's about the same price I paid ordering online. And then every website I went to that claimed that they fit, I didn't see any that really, they all look the same. So when I took it to the hydraulic shop, you can see here where they, you know, they had to cut and weld the new crimps and everything on them. I might be using the wrong terminology, but they just redid everything. So I'm happier going that route. From there, as far as the install process goes, I started with the AC condenser. Now, there's a lot of things online with these Monte Carlos 70 through 72 where they say you got to take the grill out, take the bumper out, well, take the bumper off, I mean, and all that good stuff. I didn't want to do that. So maybe the way I went about doing it is like kind of backwards, but what I did was this hood latch assembly had to come out, and that's simple enough. Just these bolts that you see here, and it kind of just weasels out of there. Take the front license plate off too, because that helps get that the pull latch, it helps get that from in there. Then there's a bracket down in here that has to come out, and of course here you have to take that loose, and there's two on either side at the bottom. And of course, before I did all that, I disconnected the dryer and took that out. That was probably the easiest part. So what I did was kind of tilted it to one side, and I was able to kind of snake it out of the bottom. Now, was that the right way to do it? Who knows? But hey, it worked out for me. So I didn't have any issues with that. So from there, I started to take the actual evaporator core out. So with these small blocks, and luckily I don't have a big block in this case, but since I have a small block, I was able to take these 8 screws along this right side. There's like 2 at the top, 2 here, and like 2 or 3 along the bottom, and on the firewall you got a few. So I was able to take those out, and that shell came off on one side. You know, I wrestled it out just a little bit, but that shell comes right out, so that was perfect. When I took the old one out, it was full of like, kind of like leaves fell out like crazy, so it was full of leaves in there. And then the evaporator was kind of restricted, so I'll show you here. Here's the old one. So when I took the old one out, yep, this is the side that faces, this is the side that was facing the blower motor, so facing the passenger side of the car. And you can see how restricted that is. And I'm not sure if you can see all the way in there, but all in those fins is debris and what have you. So not only was it probably time to replace it, it was restricted airflow too, because this alone, like when I turn on like the heat or air now, the amount of air coming through that vents as fast as it is and as clear, and like it just feels better now. Like that fan speed, when I put it on 3, it feels like 4 when this was in here, because it was like struggling to get past here. So this alone was worth it, to be honest with you. Here's the old tube and fin condenser, and reason they call it tube and fin, because you see the fins, but it also has tubes that's going all through here. So that's why it's called a tube and fin, of course. If you're going one R34A, this is not going to be as efficient as a parallel flow, because this, you have to get heat away from here. So when it's going back and forth, I don't think it's doing a very good job of getting heat away from here too fast. Sorry for the wind, it's kind of windy today. So up to this point, I had everything torn apart, installed the AC compressor. I was fighting with the lines a little bit to make sure everything was cool. I wired up the switch on the POA Eliminator, and all it does is, it's kind of like a loop. So all you're doing is, like, I can't show you because I kind of wrapped everything back up. So you cut into the power wire for the AC compressor, and you wire each one of those to one end. So like if I cut this, you wire one that way, one this way, so it'll just make a loop. And that's what's able to make that AC compressor cycle on and off when it needs to. Now, as far as the way it feels on the inside, and I'll throw some pictures up again, but it gets down to like 40 degrees in there. 40 degrees is pretty nice in that car. And on a cool day like today, it's only 70 here in Chicago, so it's really no need to have it on. But me being me, I turned it on anyway, just because I have it, and it was freezing my face off. That's how good it is now. It got down to like 35 in there. And then since it's so cool outside and the pressure got to a certain point, the AC compressor did cycle off, which is what it's supposed to do, and then it cycled back on. And I very, like, I didn't really notice the difference on the inside with it cycling on and off on a cool day. Now on a hot day, when I was riding around 80 degrees one day, it didn't cycle at all. So it's doing what it's supposed to do. So after I got everything installed, I went ahead and like I said, I'll throw some pictures, but I went ahead and vacuumed down the system. They say you can do about 45 minutes, but I went a little overboard. I went about maybe an hour and a half, just to make sure, you know, the system was completely vacuumed down. And then after you vacuum down the system, you might want to let it sit maybe 20-30 minutes just to make sure it's holding, and then you go from there. Like if it's holding, you're fine. If it's not, you just want to make sure everything is tight and everything is sealed. Make sure none of your new O-rings are like ripped. But I did good with that. I didn't rip anything. You want to make sure they're lubricated when you're installing them. And it's all new green O-rings I have in here. So any connection you see, there's new O-rings in there. So with the MC, it takes about, I think it was, when you look online, they say between 32 and 40 something ish ounces. So I got to about 36 ounces and I was good. And then the gauges showed about, on the low side, maybe about 35, 40. And on the high side, I think it was sitting at about 120, 130. So I was satisfied with that. I didn't want to go no further. So this is going to help out just in general. Like, I do like to do the power tour every year. I started doing it in 2024. So I do like doing the power tour. And it'll help out just, you know, anywhere I go. I like to go far in this car. I like to drive it when it's hot. This will help out with the heat along with the tint. Of course, I got the windows tinted last year right before the power tour. And this helps me out a lot. It just, you know, help you stay cool. A lot of people might not like tint on older cars, but that's the thing, it ain't their car, so they shouldn't be concerned with it. But yeah, in a nutshell, that's the AC system. And like I say, I know you can go vintage air, but my system was pretty complete, so all I was doing was replacing parts. Now, one thing I do want to tell people with this POA Eliminator, you can have your original one recalibrated for 1R34A. I chose not to. I actually still do have my original in the house, well, in the basement. Still had the original, so if I ever wanted to get rid of this eliminator, like if I feel like it cycles too much, if I feel like when it does cycle, the AC gets too cool, I can just either buy a new POA or send mine in to a company to have it recalibrated. And I think it's a few companies that do it. I know Old Air Products, they sell ones that they've already done, but I think they're like in a $200 some range, almost $300. But yeah, I'll be cool with that until, you know, I change my mind. And that's if I change my mind. So all in, I'll just recap real quick. New AC compressor, new parallel flow condenser, new evaporator, POA eliminator, THX valve, which is a thermal expansion valve, and then the AC lines. That's all in. I think I was maybe about 1,600 something bucks, because believe it or not, the parallel flow AC condenser is not cheap. That evaporator is not cheap. I think the evaporator was like $360 alone. I found it a little cheaper after I bought mine at the parts place, but I already had it for months because I'll kind of stock parts until I'm done, until I get everything, and then I start installing. And then the parallel flow condenser, that was in the 300 something range. So yeah, it does cost a little bit for AC systems to be upgraded, but whether you went vintage air or went this route, it's going to cost the same. My parallel flow AC condenser, it did come silver, but I just took some time out took one day to just paint it black, because when you look through the grill, I didn't want silver to show, and I'm not sure how well that comes up because the sun is right behind me. But yeah, I didn't want to be like riding and then you see silver under the grill. I wanted it to be black, just like the original was in the front. But yeah, I don't want to make this video too long. I don't think I missed anything. Oh, let me go back. AC compressor. Now, this compressor, it does, I think it came with 3 ounces of PAG oil, PAG 46 to be exact. And what I did was, you know, reading online, doing my research. I did a ton of research before I even like dived into this. I drained all the PAG oil out, and I filled it up with 8 ounces of PAG oil. That's what, you know, the general consensus was on the internet with the Monte Carlos. I did this trick I saw online because I had already installed the evaporator and the condenser. So I did this trick I saw another guy do in a YouTube video. He put a vacuum on the low side of the system, and he took out the Schrader valve on the high side of the system, or at the high port. And when you put your finger on it, you actually feel it, you know, sucking on your finger like it's pulling a vacuum. So what I did was the same thing he did. The way I introduced the other 4 ounces to the system, I think I'm sorry, the other 2 ounces, because it takes 10 total. So 8 in the compressor, 2 here. I was able to suck the PAG oil through here. So I didn't start the system or like start the charger or start the compressor completely dry, but I did add it through. And you know, I'll tell the good and the bad. I thought I fried the compressor at one point. Once this new AC extension harness came, I wanted a brand new one, and I can't really show you how it looks as I put everything back like in looms. So like right here, here's the fuse for the thermal limiter switch. There's the power going to the new compressor. And then when I was putting everything back together, I didn't ground this good enough. So I'm riding back from getting food, and all of a sudden it just stops getting cold. So I pull over into the neighborhood, I touched the clutch, and it was, I mean, I could barely touch it, it was so hot. So that was on me, because I didn't have a good connection here. It was, I guess it made it wig out. So I thought I fried it. I said, shoot, I'm gonna have to order another one. You know, I'm not gonna be bogus and try to, if it's my fault, hey, it's my fault. But if it was like something with the compressor itself, then hey, I want whatever company I ordered it from to send me a new one. So I got home, I said, well, had to put my thinking cap on. I went ahead and just let it cool down for about 4 hours. I just let it completely cool down. So I came back outside, made sure everything was tight the way it's supposed to be, cranked it back up. The compressor came on and ran just fine, and it's been fine ever since. I just think I got it a little too hot. And that, like I said, that's on me, but hey, that was a mistake I made. Now I know in the future not to make it, and I'm making a video so other people won't make the same mistake I did. But yeah, I'm satisfied with the way it came out. I think the biggest pain was the freaking AC condenser. Of course the compressor, that's easy. And then the AC lines, even with my new ones, you have to wrestle them a little bit, because these hoses were like already like wanting to naturally go one way, and I still wanted to run it like it was from the factory. So having mounted here, come across the AC bracket, that's how a lot of the cars were. And I had this, I guess you can call it some insulation I put on here just sort of rest on there. Now from the factory, or my originals, it kind of set back a little further, but either way that'll be fine. Let me go right back to after I thought I fried the compressor. So after I let it cool down, I rode to a suburb of Chicago, like Aurora. I just got on the highway and just went. And it was kind of chilly that night, but I couldn't not test it out. So I went there and back, AC running the whole time, and it was absolutely freezing my face off. So I'm like, okay, at this point I know it's good. It cycled the way it's supposed to, because it was kind of cool that night. So good. So now when I do the power tour, me and my pops, we do the power tour together. When we do it, we should be a little bit more comfortable. Like I say, the original worked, but it wasn't like you upgrading the system. And then speaking of upgrading the system, I already had these electric fans on for years. They are, I think, 1,200 CFM a piece. So that's 2,400. So throughout the summer and then on a power tour, I'll see how it does. I know it'll keep the car cool. I've done 2 power tours. It's been pretty hot sitting in traffic. But I'll see how it does with the AC system, because now I'm curious to know if this is going to be enough CFM for having a nice functional AC system. I do have it set up where when you turn the AC on, I got it wired up to the sniper. When you turn the AC on, it automatically kicks on that first fan. And even going down the road, if it's nice enough, neither one of my fans really stay on, but you know, with the AC system, you want one fan on at least. And if I have to upgrade, I've seen these fans from, I'm not sure if you pronounce it Dirale or Drale. They have a kit, I think it's like 600 something bucks, but this is 4,000 CFM total. So if this doesn't do the job with, you know, keeping it where it's supposed to be, with the AC system being up to snuff now, then I'll upgrade to those fans. But I'm not anticipating that I would have to. But yeah, like I said, I don't want to make this too long. I don't want to go off on another tangent. But if you have any questions, comments, just let me know and I'll reach out to you, or you can reach out to me on Instagram. I'll put it in my link below, or my description below. And just give you one last look at everything. It ain't the best engine bay in the world. It's, you know, some stuff I want to take care of. But yeah, that's in a nutshell what I did with the AC system. If I forget something, I'll put a clip at the end. But like I said, if you have any questions, just feel free to just reach out, leave a comment, and I'll do my best to answer.